The meeting is now live on YouTube. Still waiting on Sandy Tarswell. There she is. It is now 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much. We can.
The meeting is live on YouTube.
All righty. Welcome to the school board regular meeting for May 26th. We'll call this meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't get a flag yet for this one. Does anybody else have a flag handy? Okay. Oh, Sally's got one. Nice. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll just go ahead and start the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Sally. Seems like every time it's a different person that remembers the flag. We're gonna have to put one person in charge of that. All righty, I think at this point in time, usually our superintendent says a couple of words about what the governor decrees we are to deal with at our board meetings. So Alex, you're muted. We can't hear you.
How about now?
That's good.
Okay.
Very
Our
good.
school, thank you. Our school board meetings will only deal with essential matters. That's where we are right now in terms of our everyday types of issues.
All righty, thank you. So now have board members had a chance to review the agenda? All righty, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the agenda for May 26, 2020. Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as published. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the agenda is adopted. Our first order of business this evening is to administer the oath of office for a new school board member. 3 months ago, we had a vacancy in District 2, and earlier this evening, we conducted interviews and have selected a candidate to appoint to this position. I'd like to, do we have a nomination?
I nominate Lynn Eaton for the open Director District 2 vacancy.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Lynn Eaton to Director 2 board vacancy. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. This will be a roll call vote per our policy 1114. So we'll take a roll call vote. Sally Carr, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sally Brownfield
Aye.
and Carrie Davidson
Aye.
and Sandy Tarswell, aye. So that being said, we'd like to welcome Lynn Eaton as our newest school board member. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Thank you.
It might be nice perhaps to do some introductions of cabinet that might be on the call, just to familiarize Lynn with some names and faces. Could we do that? Oh, we have to have the swearing in first, then we'll do that. We have Patty McGuire here from the County Auditor's Office to do the swearing in. So we'll turn that over to Patty and Lynn.
Thank you, Sandy. It's good to see you, if virtually. Before we start, Lynn, I have a question for you. Do you want to swear or affirm in your oath?
I can swear.
Okay, you got it. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your
I,
name.
Lynn Eaton,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am a citizen of the United States and the state of Washington,
that I am a citizen of the United States and the state of Washington,
that I am legally qualified to assume the office of
that I am legally qualified to assume the office of
Shelton School District number 309,
Shelton School District number 309,
Director, District 2,
Director, District 2,
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States and the state of Washington,
of the United States and the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of this office
discharge the duties of this office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Lynn, and thank you, Patty, for doing that service for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Alex, would you like to lead introductions of the cabinet for Lynn?
Sure. Kelly Neely. You want to say a few words, Kelly? She's in charge of curriculum and instruction.
Sure, I'm Kelly Neely. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and I also have all the state. Good golly. And I have all the state and federal programs here. And this is my 4th year I'm almost done with.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, next, Mary Ann, who's in charge of K-12 schools.
Hi, nice to meet you, Mary Ann Marshall. As Dr. Russell said, I'm in charge of all the schools K-12. I'm also in charge of MTSS for the district and a wide variety of other things, but those are the 2 main things that stick out. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Jenny?
Hi, Lynn. I'm Jenny Lafreniere. I'm Director of Special Education, Nurses, 504s, all things special programs. Nice to meet you.
Jenny.
Okay, Don Wieslander.
Hi, Lynn. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
I take care of career connected learning.
Thank you,
Good to see you,
Don.
Dawn.
Yeah, good to see you.
Among other things. Okay, Linda Arnold is our human resources person, and she's not here this evening. But I hope you have a chance, Lynn, to meet with Linda. She's very knowledgeable, very experienced in relation to human resources, and she would be a real asset to you in terms of learning about the district and the history.
Okay.
Brenda Trogstad.
Hi, Lynn. I've
Hi,
been
Brenda.
in the district I'm in my 31st year. Oh my goodness. I'm the executive director of finance, all things money, and then operations also. So I have food services, transportation, technology, and maintenance. So look forward to meeting you in person one of these days. Welcome to Shelton School District.
Nice meeting you, Brenda.
Robert Heron.
Hi, Lynn. I'm the Director of Facilities Management and Construction, and welcome to the Shelton School Board.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Robert.
Bob Townsend.
Hi, Lynn. This is my 5th year as the Assessment and Data Coordinator and 20th year in the district.
Nice meeting you.
Welcome.
Well, I would encourage you, Lynn, and we can set this up where you could meet individually with our cabinet members, and I think that would be great.
Okay.
For you to do. And we'll make that happen if it fits into your schedule. Did I miss anybody?
Me, Katie Diamond.
Oh, there's Katie.
Hi, Lynn. I'm Katie Diamond. I've been at the district for about a year now, and I handle all the communications.
Nice to meet you, Katie.
And she
You
does
too.
a
Welcome aboard.
fantastic job.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think that's it. Sorry, Katie, for missing you there.
No worries.
I think that's everybody.
Thank you very much for taking the time to do that. Lynn, there'll be a test
Okay.
later on tonight. No, I know it's a lot to throw at you, but you're going to be hearing from some of these people, and might be good to know who they are. So, all righty, we will move on to community comments. School board meetings are now streamed live via YouTube every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. Community members may make comments by sending an email to schoolboard@sheltonschools.org, or they can also phone in by calling 1-253-215-8782 and enter the appropriate meeting code during the community comment time. Comments will be read or heard at the beginning of the meeting, and another opportunity is given at the end of the meeting as if the meeting were in person. And just as if the meeting were in person, time is still limited to 3 minutes, and please include your name and address for the record. So do we have anybody that would like to make public comment at this time?
I have an email that was submitted to the school board.
All righty.
If nobody else is wanting to do anything. Email is from Shaylee Gordon. I am on the graduation committee and thought the new plan is great. I'm stoked to be having a graduation still. I was wondering if it would be at all possible to pick what families we want to go in with instead of alphabetical order. I understand that it would be a lot more work with figuring out the time slots that aren't alphabetical order, but I could talk to graduation committee and see if they would be willing to organize this. I know it's important for me to walk with my best friend and get pictures after. I would really appreciate if this was taken into consideration. Thank you in advance, Shaylee Gordon.
All righty. Thank you, Bob, for sharing that with us. And that seems like a matter for the committee to work with staff and the principal to coordinate and set up, not necessarily a board action item, but perhaps Dr. Apostle can follow up and see if her request can be accommodated.
Sure, and we may find out about that when the
That's true,
principal
that's
of the
on
high
the-
school speaks to us tonight.
Sure, that's on the agenda tonight. Thank you for that reminder. Okay. Shaylee, if you're listening, thank you for your comment. Is there any other comment?
No, that's the only one that's on the mailbox from my aspect.
All righty. Thank you very much. With that, we can move on to reports and recognitions. First up, we have Dr. Apostle with the reopening of the school plans and the subcommittee format.
Thank you, Sandy. We're moving forward to reopen our schools through a subcommittee format. We have reached out to the community and communicated how important it is for all of us to be together as we move through this process to make sure that we open our schools in the best possible way to support our students. I'd like to just mention our subcommittees and the leaders of those subcommittees. The first one, we have 18 people that have signed up for the first subcommittee, the number 1 subcommittee, and that's students, staff, and family, social, emotional needs and support. And Marianne Marshall and Susie Wasbicki are co-chairing that committee. And if there's anybody out in the community that would like to join that subcommittee, please do so. Katie put out quite a bit of information to the community and to staff to give them direction just in case they were interested in participating on these subcommittees. Subcommittee number 2 is on has 35 people that have signed up to be on that committee. So it's on that's on remote learning and the traditional model of instruction. How do we incorporate both of those once we get back to school? Because I believe that's going to be one avenue that we probably will be asked to pursue, at least that one at the very least. And that committee is chaired by Kelly Neely. The next subcommittee is on operation, transportation, and nutrition. We have 15 people on that committee, and Brenda Trogstad is chairing that group. The fourth committee is policy review and reform to accommodate a transitional model of education. And Carrie Davidson and myself are subcommittee leaders for that group. We have to be very careful in terms of this particular subcommittee because we need to know what's coming down the road from the state before we really deal with modifying any of our current policies. And so there may be a delay in getting that subcommittee together, but very shortly we will get direction from the state in terms of reopening our schools. And we'll probably meet just to kind of see where we're at in terms of policy, but I will be reaching out to, we have 5 people that are interested in that work. The next subcommittee is safety and security. Student staff protection against the virus, protocols for sanitizing and disinfecting school buildings, systems to deal with the reemergence of the virus. And we have Karen DeWitt and Robert Herron co-chairing that committee. There's 22 people that have signed up to participate. The next subcommittees are going to focus on sports and the co-curricular program, PK-12. Trevor Leopold, our athletic director, and Mark Smith, our new head football coach and K-8 director of activities, will chair that committee. And there's 18 people involved in that effort. Then the final one, our final subcommittee is on communication, public relations. That's headed up by Katie Diamond. And there are 9 people on that committee. And I'm sure there's going to be additional people for all the 7 subcommittees as we move forward. But I really emphasize to the community and to the staff that this truly is a collaborative effort. And it's all hands on deck because it's not going to be easy to reopen our schools. I can tell you that right now. And I've mentioned that it was difficult to close our schools, but when we reopen the schools, it's going to be more of a challenge, and we need everybody's opinion, ideas, and innovative ideas as we go forward. Thank you.
Questions or comments from members of the board? No? Okay. We'll move on to the budget update with Brenda and Alex.
Sure. Brenda, you want to start?
Sure. As you all know, we've been meeting every Thursday evening with the school board doing study sessions on the budget for 2021. We've done numerous scenarios. We started at a 3.3% reduction. We also have a 10%, a 15%, and a 19.2%, I can't talk tonight, reduction. We are not doing a RIF with our certificated staff. That was good news. We also, as you know, 86.47% of the school district budget is staffing. So when you have to get deep into those cuts, it ends up being people, and there's just nowhere else to go, because you still have to pay your utilities, you still have to pay your liability insurance. So those are all still there. I know Alex has some info to share that he learned this morning, but just as a scenario of things that are starting to happen, I received this month's apportionment statement. They did a shortage on our transportation funding for the month of May. That dollar amount was $147,960 short for May. So we're hearing also that in June, we're going to receive a shortage on our levy equalization dollars. They aren't telling me how much that is yet. So we're already starting to see the state pull back in the current fiscal year, and they'll pay us in their new fiscal year that starts July 1. So that's just, we're still moving forward. We're going to have, I've reconvened our committee, our Community Budget Advisory Committee. We will be meeting on June 1st to go over the scenarios, and then we'll be presenting to the school board in the open meeting on June 9th, all of the scenarios. So Alex.
Thank you, Brenda. Well, it's I was in a meeting early this morning, a Zoom meeting for ESD 113 superintendent's meeting. And in a chat room, I asked the question, basically, do we have any idea when we'll know how much money we do not have? And the answer was, not yet, but we should know something within 30 days. Well, it's pretty difficult to build a budget when you really don't know how much money you're not going to have. And so we're being very cautious, and we're coming up with different scenarios, and we've been sharing them with the board. And like Brenda mentioned, we're going to be sharing them in an open forum on June 1st. On June 2nd, excuse me. And on June 1st, we have our Community Advisory Committee where we're going to share the options that we've been talking about. These options are places we don't want to go. And so I'm hoping the fact that we're supported by the state constitution in terms of public education, that we're going to be in pretty good shape. But I'm anticipating a deficit. There's no question about it. And so any way we look at this, we have to prepare for budget cuts to some degree. And we'll keep the board apprised, of course, and the community and the staff aware of what's going to happen.
Any comments or questions from board members? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to high school graduation and what our final possibilities might look like. Looks like we'll have Stacy Anderson representing Choice and Jennifer Diet with Shelton High School.
Thank you, Sandy. Stacy and I have talked about this, and she has few changes. I think the reason we're on the agenda this evening is because of Shelton High School. So I'll start off with, we really appreciated Shaylee's suggestion, and she emailed me that very same information. And if we do go that route of not alphabetical order, we are definitely going to take her up on her offer to help organize that. So that was great that she reached out to us. The portion about photos with your friends is one of the no-nos, even though we are in phase 2 and even moving to phase 3. We cannot have anyone closer than 6 feet apart. So we've got some plans that I wanted to present to you tonight. Shaylee has been a part of the graduation committee. We did not bring the committee back together for this portion because I believe at the last meeting, it was Carrie who said, what might you do if you had this in Shelton? So we were just taking it from that suggestion, and this is where we're at. And we've come up with a general proposal. I won't go through all of the details, but I'll give you the nuts and bolts and let you all have comments or maybe have some other ideas to share. In looking at our possibilities, which we are now in phase 2, but that really did not provide us much more leniency than phase 1, we kind of came to the conclusion of why would we drive to Thurston County to do the same situation that we could do on our very own campus. So we looked at what could we do on the Shelton High School campus. Then you get into the weather, because it would have to be an outdoor piece in order to have anything that did not take 2 or 3 days in length with a class of 300 graduates. And we were looking at weather and date conflicts, and we are proposing that we move this 1 week later to Tuesday, June 23rd. If we can all use our magic ball, when we look at the weather, it is better that week than the week prior. So we're looking at June 23rd, and we're ballparking our time somewhere like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We need to fine tune that and do some dry runs and see what it would actually be all about. And now that we are in phase 2, that's confirmed, that does help us with that. If all things go well, we could possibly be in phase 3. That still doesn't give us enough allowance to have a full-blown ceremony. That limits it to groups of 50 instead of 5. We have received recorded speeches from 5 of the 6 valedictorians. Some of you may not know that Lynn Eaton's son is one of those valedictorians. One opted not to speak, but the other 5 have all submitted their speeches. The students have voted on their staff speaker, and that is Miss Elisa Lennox, and she has graciously accepted and is excited to do her speech. And then we will have pre-recorded portions from myself and both Dr. Apostle. In trying to keep it local, we have reached out to Cooper Studio to see if they would do our photography, and they are pretty excited with options and want to walk campus and see what they might be able to do. We were checking with Mason Web TV about doing the video and the live stream. Those are services that St. Martin's would have provided us. We've not done those in the past, but we would with this pandemic and allowing a new opportunity. Mason Web TV is concerned that they may have a conflict with that Tuesday, but they are going to get back to us tomorrow. And then one of our graduation coordinators also has a meeting with Jeff Slakey tomorrow on that. So we're still keeping our fingers crossed on that one. We have checked with the Mason County Health Department, and they have no additional restrictions from what we have already been presented from the state. One of the coordinators has reached out to the Shelton Police Department and expects to hear back from them in the next couple of days. We reached out to Robert in terms of maintenance and what could we or could we not do. Because this would be outdoors, we will have a portable stage. We would not be able to use the fabulous backdrop that one of our art teachers created years ago because there's no way to secure it without an engineering process. So we would just be using the natural beauty of campus and have just some natural greenery as our background. We would use the Oakland Bay Junior High lot for staging for families that are there early. And staff would be absolutely able to be involved because of the outdoors opportunity, and we would practice social distancing, and they would use the staff parking lot. And our proposal is to do kind of a hybrid between the recorded, live streamed individual ceremonies at schools that's a presented option and the drive-through option. So we would have the family come up in one car with the graduate in the passenger seat. They would go through some protocols as they arrive, getting name cards and different things. They would wait in the Shelton High School parking lot until their assigned time. They would then exit the Shelton High School parking lot, enter by the stadium, go up the bus lane, turn right in front of the sub in the mini dome. The car would stop. And the reason we're going that direction is the family would be the driver and they would be on the side to take photos. Students would get out, we would place them 5 at a time. So we would try to keep it flowing on marks on the ground that we would have 6 feet apart. And the first one would have their name read. They would grab, before their name is read, they would grab a diploma from the table because we are not allowed to hand them anything. They would pick up from the table a pre-done baggie of programs and graduation tickets for mementos, even though date and location are not exactly the same, although program we can have accurate. Again, then their name would be read, they would walk up to the stage, they would have their photo taken, they would move their tassel, they would exit the stage, they would get in the car drives off, and we go right through that with the next student. So our desire is to keep the cars going through, to keep kids kind of in the cross the stage zone. And again, that's the part where we need to work out the fine details of time. Lots of staff on hand to assist in all areas, to keep it flowing, to keep the parking lots, to help families. And again, we're only allowed to limit 1 car per family. So depending on the size of the vehicle, but that is our plan that we wanted to bring to you this evening. And again, that date is Tuesday, June 23rd, and it would be more of a daytime ceremony.
Questions or comments from board members?
From board members, okay.
I had a question, Jen.
Yeah.
Because you've probably thought of this, but if for some reason a family does not have a vehicle, is there a backup plan for that? Or do they not get the opportunity to participate? I guess, how do we work on that?
So had it been at St. Martin's, we would have had buses to transport them over there. So we would do some sort of, and I haven't talked to Brenda about this yet, but if we could use district transportation, or we would reach out to community resources so that every student would have that opportunity.
Okay.
And we also don't know how many are going to choose to participate.
Right. I was curious about that too.
I've heard lots of positive things. So after our last board meeting, I had a few, since my oldest son is a senior and is friends with seniors, have heard from a few seniors that it seemed pretty positive about it, that they're happy that there is a chance to get their moment to walk across the stage. So this is sort of exciting to think that we could even do it on our own campus.
Right. And that's exactly it. Not just walk across the stage, which was really their desire, but they'll be the first class in almost 30 years to have it, well, over 20 years to have had a graduation ceremony on campus.
Yeah, very exciting.
And I'd just like to say, you know, as a new board member and as a parent of a senior, as you mentioned, Bo is a valedictorian this year. I think the amount of work that you and your team have done to make this a success is really impressive. And I just want to thank you and the rest of the committee for really thinking about these kids and this experience. And I think it really will be special to be on our campus. So good job.
Thank you, Lynn.
Jennifer, will there be any size limit on the car, the vehicle? You know, if somebody comes with a 7-passenger van?
They can do that. We would, of course, ask that they abide by laws and are safe and buckled in, and everyone has their own seat, but it's just one vehicle per family. So a minivan could hold more than a compact.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I'm just wondering, I guess, when this will be finalized is on getting the word. I just spoke to a senior last night and she still thought they were going to St. Martin's.
Absolutely. Sally, we wanted to give you all the opportunity to hear about it first. And then we have a meeting in the morning with the graduation coordinators, Mr. Brisgornia, who he just says, being his first rodeo, he wants to know what to expect. So there are the 4 of us that will meet to go over a few last minute details, and then we will put information out. But we wanted to come to you first with this idea.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Glad it's on campus.
So does this mean we are no longer considering a virtual option as a backup? We're just going to go head on with this one.
Absolutely. Worst case scenario would be weather is not in our favor, and we would provide some pop-up tents that we could still hold the ceremony outdoors and keep the kids that are outside under cover, and then staff, we would just have to use umbrellas, and family would be in cars.
All right.
We're Washingtonians.
All righty. Any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment.
All righty.
First of all, I'm very happy you've landed on a plan and a date. That's tremendous. And the amount of detail work that you've done already is fantastic. And it is a lot of work. And I know there's been tremendous input from parents and students, but I think it was handled extremely well. And I look forward to a graduation that's going to be in our memory for many, many, many years. So done a great job, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto. I think we all appreciate all the work that's gone into this. And I know there's some very excited kids out there. So
it's going to be like none other.
That's right.
And Stacy has nothing else to add at this time for choice?
No, I would just say we have the same plan we brought to you several weeks ago, and our ceremony will be on September 18th at the Shelton High School Performing Arts Center, in person if at all possible, which is what our students requested, and there will be virtual backup. So no plans have changed on that.
Okay.
So the virtual graduation will be on the 18th also, Stacy?
So what we're going to be doing is we'll have Shelton High School staff will be streaming it for us as they've done in the past on YouTube. So anybody that wants to see it at that point can have it streamed, and we will virtually honor any students that cannot come that night because of their concerns or their family's concerns. And if we have a point in the pandemic where we have gone back in stages or we're not able to do that, we will stage it completely virtual on the 18th so families know when to expect it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments for Stacy? Okay.
I'm sorry, Sandy. Can I just mention that we haven't let go of the button blanket ceremony either, that it's still out there and still looking to find a time that we can do it and in a way that will make everyone happy. So that has not been released yet. We haven't put that away.
All right. Thank you very much. That has, appreciate that update. Okay. We maybe you'll have something before the next board meeting, we think.
I hope so. It all just depends on where we are with the release and being able to get families together.
All right.
Yep, we haven't let go of it though. It's so important.
Thank you. And that's a good segue into our next report on senior awards, because that's another thing that's another important ceremony that needs to be done.
Absolutely. So I will start with this one as well. We have our scholarship coordinator, Jill Burgo, who is also one of our office professionals. She supports the Career Center, does transcripts, and it's just kind of a natural part of her job that she has done Senior Awards Night. Some of what we are encountering are many of our scholarship committees pushed their deadlines back with this pandemic. So we're still seeking some information and we may not actually have full information. That also means that in the graduation program this year, the scholarships will not be listed. We didn't have that information in time to go to press, which actually was this morning. We had to have the program ready. But I can tell you what the plan is right now. It would have been last week on May 21st, but due to where we're at today, Jill has reached out to committees and asking committees to do a video. So it'll be a virtual presentation, essentially the same thing they would do live on the stage. Come up, introduce themselves, the organization that they're representing, maybe a little bit of bio or background on what their scholarship is about and how the selection was made, read off the student's name and the amount, and then that would all be video clipped together by Joey Seward, who is our Performing Arts Center manager. He's doing the videoing of that, and we've already received some. We're hoping to organize this virtual ceremony to be in mid-June. Again, committee members have been asked to submit their video clips and their information. That Jill's given her personal cell phone number for them to reach out to her to do that. And again, asking that everything is submitted by June 6th. We do know though, that some, again, scholarship committees have pushed things out to the end of June. So we're doing the best we can in the current situation with honoring our kiddos in the way that we feel they should be honored. And then the other hope with all of this, when you announce a student's name as an award winner, that we would be able to clip in preferably their senior photo so that the community can connect the name with the student that maybe they've seen around town or know in a different environment. So those plans are moving forward, just in a little different environment.
Questions or comments from board members? We have, I contacted Jill Burgo about the Drake Scholarship, which is a scholarship that the school board is in charge of awarding. So if I understand you correctly, the students will make no response into the video. It'll just be their photo that goes across the screen in lieu of their...
In lieu of them coming up and accepting from you, yes, it would just be their photo and then information sent out to them so they know what they are recipients of.
Okay, all righty. We also had kind of pushed our deadline out a little bit, knowing that we didn't have a May award ceremony to worry about. And it's a good thing. We think we've got narrowed down to the candidates that we'll be interviewing. Sally Brownfield and myself have been working on that. And so we'll come to the rest of the board to figure out a date to conduct interviews and present the actual candidates that we'll be interviewing in that. And that'll be a new process for Lynn. When I send out information to the board, I'll make sure to include your you with that, but that'll be an upcoming meeting to plan for very soon. Other questions or comments for the senior awards night? All righty. Did you have something, Alex?
No, I was just, I don't know if Stacy has something to say about it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So Choices Awards nights are a little different since we're a lot smaller and we don't have quite as many scholarship recipients, but we've done similar to what Jen has done at Shelton High School. We have our scholarship recipients. We've asked them to send a video of themselves talking about the students and awarding the scholarship. And then our plan is to clip those in with other videos we're going to be getting. Our advisors had such a fun time taking the senior signs out and putting them in the yard and seeing their students, that what they want to do is the senior advisors are going to be going out, and we do a certificate for each student that's kind of more of a fun, award for what they did well while they were specifically at Choice. So the senior advisors are planning on going out to the houses, delivering their certificate to them in person while we videotape, using all social distancing with gloves and masks and all of that. We'll videotape each one of those for the students we're able to reach. And then we will compile all of those videos into one long senior awards presentation, similar to what we would have done in person. And because we're a smaller school, we felt like that would be kind of a nice way to do it. And the advisors really loved getting out to see the kids when they delivered the signs. So that's our plan for senior awards at Choice.
Sounds like that'll be a lot of fun to watch as well. Any other comments, questions?
I just want to say that I personally love that both of you came together with the signs that you're giving the seniors and how it does have both of the high schools. It's been really fun to see the pictures of all the students on social media. It's nice to hear that the teachers that are heading out there to do it are just as excited, but it's been really fun to see that. And I know that while this is just a really strange time, there's been some very fun things that are coming out of it that I think are lifting people's spirits. So I appreciate all the hard work on the senior planning, on the graduation plans, on all the committees, on all of the meetings that you guys are doing for all of this. It's amazing how far we've come since this began. So thank you both.
All righty, anyone else?
Just have a question, Sandy. Jen indicated that the student awards would be sometime in mid-June. Stacy, what about Choice? What are you thinking about in terms of a date?
Our goal is to get it done before the end of school, if at all possible. Again, we've had scholarship deadlines pushed back too, but our goal is to get that completed. And we had an idea of even hosting a virtual viewing session, where we would have families kind of Zoom in and cook their dinners together and all have a nice meal together and watch the video. We'll see if we can pull that part off, but the goal is mid-June.
Mid-June. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you both very much for the information and all the hard work. We appreciate. All right, with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are routine and ordinary things. Minutes from meetings, personnel report, general warrants for student body and general fund. Have members had a chance to review the consent agenda?
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have
Second?
All righty, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved. We'll go into discussion and action items. 7.01 is a proposed resolution, and we'll have Kelly Neely to talk to us about that one. This one is in second reading. And Kelly, you're on mute. We don't hear you, Kelly. You're on mute.
Oh,
there
I
we
thought I
go.
was unmuted and I wasn't. It's so hard. So this is our second reading of this resolution. It is basically asking the state for a waiver for the amount of seat time, hours, and days because of COVID. So along with it, we have to present to them our school calendar. So there should be one attached to this. And then we also have to present the, sorry, let me get it back up here. The Shelton Continuous Learning Plan. And I've included that in your packet as well. So as soon as if you decide to agree and move this on, I will take this and post it to the state along with our application. The application is very simple. It just says that we're asking for the hours and days for the waiver and that we agree to follow basically what they've asked us to do. It's implementing, we have implemented our continuous learning plan. We followed all the directions for that, which we have, that you have adopted the resolution and the plan. We've extended the school year by a minimum of 5 days, but we didn't have to do that because we were already beyond June 19th. And that we are down or uploading it all to OSPI. It's like 6 questions and that's it.
And that's due May 29th, correct?
It is, and if we agree to it tonight, I will put it in tomorrow morning so that we're not the last ones in, and we'll be good to go.
Thank you.
All righty. Questions or comments from the board? I think this was, I wasn't at the last meeting, but we held it over to this meeting for some final edits or information, or why did we hold it over for second reading?
For just in case the state had some other things come down the pipe.
Sounds like a wise move. You never know.
They've changed just a few times.
Just a few, that's right. And we don't have to change again and again. So this is the most current edition.
It is.
Oh, all righty. Any other comments or questions? All righty. Do we have a motion to approve this?
I move that we approve resolution number 20-04, emergency waiver of school days and instructional hours.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed resolution number 20-04. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All righty, resolution is approved. Thank you, Kelly, for that presentation.
Oh, thank you.
And it looks like you're going to have a few more here.
Yeah, I'm on for a while, sorry.
Next up is the proposed Native Ed program grant for the 2020-2021 school year with Kelly.
Yes, so this is a 4-year grant. We're in the last year of our 4-year grant. You can't change anything to the grant. It's the same way it's been for the last 4 years. That's a requirement of the grant. But then it's also a requirement of the grant that we have a public showing of the grant. So what we did was we had to wait for approval from the feds to be able to do this because we can't get together in person. So we sent out robocalls, reminders asking folks to tune in so that they could see this. It is exactly the same as it has been. I'm going to try to share my screen. I've never done this before. Bob?
You should be good to go, Kelly.
Okay. Awesome. Let me see if I can slideshow. So this is, like I said before, this is our year 4, the 4-year grant. We get we get $81,826, and this basically pays for 1.5 NAEP paratechs. So all of the money that we have that comes into this pays for 1.5 paratechs. The objectives are the same as they've always been. They're in alignment with our MOU and the goals that we have between us and the tribes. So it's culturally responsive childhood programs, culturally responsive professional development, and culturally responsive academic support. Objective 2 is to increase graduation rate. So we have career preparation and culturally responsible counseling. Objective 3 is to increase school attendance rate. So culturally responsive academic support, parent involvement, and dropout prevention strategies, sorry. And then the last one we have here is just the current count. This is the only thing that's different from year to year because we put the current count of students into the system for the grant. And that is as simple as it gets. We take all of our money and put those into the 2 paratechs.
Sandy, may I comment, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The grant, the 4-year grant, is very consistent with the vision of our school district and the 4 goals that support our vision. And we have reviewed this information with both tribes, and we're going to continue, of course, based on what's happened here in the last few months. We want to continue our program in terms of the vision that the school district has in connection with the grant. So that won't change either. Our commitments are the same.
Kelly, how many students are currently on the, as you fill out the grant, how many students did you list currently?
313.
313. Would board members want to see the remainder slides? I think there was a handful of slides that went with that.
It didn't show you guys the last slides?
Just the first one.
Oh, well, piddle. The 3 that were there were just what I said to you. And then the last one, let me see if I can get it to share again.
There we go.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see it. A little hard to see. Can you zoom it? Enlarge it?
Sure, I can zoom it. Look at that. Yes.
All righty, there we go. Okay. All right.
It's remained fairly consistent.
It has. It has. Okay. And is that up from year 3?
It is up just a couple of students, not much.
Okay.
It's pretty consistent. If you look down here at Evergreen, so they've added a couple over the years, 1 or 2. We've gone down just by 1 here, up by 1. It's really, really consistent.
Okay. What kind of a change do we see maybe from year 1? Has it been
We have
pretty
done a
steady?
better job identifying students as they've come through. And so I believe that we are up from year 1 as we look back over the years. I know that we certainly are serving more kids. Sometimes they're not always identified because they have to fill out a certain form, and many families don't want to fill out that form. But that doesn't, we've made a commitment here that whether they fill out the form or not, that we're going to serve them.
Okay.
So we serve way more than what we actually are identifying on here.
All righty. Any other questions or comments from other board members? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I also want to point out too, that to follow up with this, we'll also be having another tribal consultation for all the other grants that we have. So this will come up again within that tribal consultation. We'll be going over Title I, Title II, Title IV, all of them together with both tribes together to review all of it. So it'll come up again.
All right.
And I've also made a commitment to both tribes that if we don't have enough folks on the line tonight who are watching it, that I will host another Zoom meeting to go through the grant with them as well.
So was the meeting, was this taken to the parent committee?
We could not, we don't have another meeting, Sally, with the parent committee. So what we did was Jean Fairbrother sent out meeting requests to folks to get them to Zoom in tonight. And so if we don't have enough, I'll go back through the logs. And if we don't have enough, or it doesn't seem like there's much representation, I'll offer another Zoom meeting before we have to have it turned in by June 19th.
For the general public or for the parent committee?
Both. I want to make sure to get as many people in as possible, but we did do robocalls and emails to everybody, the parent committee plus both anybody who had tribal affiliation.
Has the consultations been scheduled?
The big consultation has not been scheduled. It should be within the next 2 weeks where we get together to do that. It just came out. The grant just opened where it said that we had to do the tribal consultations. So as soon as we can get everybody's schedules kind of aligned, it will happen.
So when is the grant due?
This grant is due, we have to have it by the 19th.
And you just got it?
Oh, this one, I'm talking about the other one, Sally, I'm so sorry. There's a piece in the other grants, the state and federal grants, that say we have to have the huge consultation to talk about every single thing that we run through them. This one, we've been working on it for a while. We've had it open maybe 2 weeks that we've had this open. And so we haven't been able to do, you know, the parents together or anything like that. So I am more than happy to do another presentation, you know, a Zoom to anybody who wants to jump in on it, just to get any sort of feedback.
Okay, thank you.
So is this something we will approve tonight, or is this just an update and we'll approve at a future board meeting after the consultation happens, or how will we do this?
We're not asking for approval at this. This does not have to be approved by the board. Okay. I just wanted it to be a public showing of the grant, to be perfectly transparent for everybody, and to see if we could get enough people on at the same time to have a good look at it.
Does the grant require a public hearing?
Yes, and the feds have told us that this is a public hearing, that this qualifies as a public hearing. That's why we went ahead with this, but then again, I'll do another one if we need to.
Is Antonio and Gordon, are they in the audience?
Both of them said that they were going to make it tonight, so I would imagine that they are. I can't see the list.
Okay.
So is there any changes because of this COVID about our public hearings? Are we doing what kind of protocols are we following for any public hearings that we need to have?
So for this one, and this is the only one that we've had guidance for, Sally, so far, they said that we could use our school board meeting as a public hearing if people are attending it. So we went ahead and scheduled it that way. But again, I'm going to look and see who did attend. And if we don't have enough representation, I'll do it again.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're covering our bases, because that's a legal obligation.
Right.
Yes. We got, Jean Fairbrother asked specifically about this, and we were told it was okay to do because of COVID. But for the next one, the big consultation that we need to do, I already have Antonio and Gordon lined up for it. Alex will be there, and then we'll include anybody else who wants to be there as well.
So besides your robocalls or whatever, are the typical public notices still required?
Yes, and I believe, I'm not positive, either Katie or Jean put them out so that we had notification. So yes, we fulfilled that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's important. We want to make sure that we've got everything lined up.
Yes. Thank you.
I appreciate you asking because it really makes me think about it.
I've done this for many years. I want to make sure we're covering all of our bases. And I know these are strange times and it takes a lot of effort. So thank you for all of this.
You're welcome.
And I think Alex had a comment.
Well, I just want to agree with Sally that we will double back to make sure that we have the input and we have the involvement that we need to make sure that we don't get ourselves in any kind of trouble. And I think that's what Sally was trying to tell us. And we will do that. Absolutely.
Yes, I know that we have Luann Big Bear on tonight as well. So we've got a variety of people that I know we're planning on coming, but you never know what circumstances happen. So if they're not on, because I can't see who's here or not. If they didn't make it, then I definitely will circle back around and do another one.
And we never know who's seeing it via YouTube versus directly on Zoom. So, okay.
Sandy, on our agenda, we do have recommend approval for us to move forward. We have it on the agenda listed as that.
Alrighty. Is there a motion to approve the Native Ed program grant?
A motion to approve the Native Education Program grant for the 2020-21 school year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed Native Education Program grant for the 2020-21 school year. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Grant is approved
Thank you.
for submission, I guess. All righty. And Kelly's up again with the highly capable program grant, also for next school year.
This one, okay. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 minute. I clicked out of my boxes. Highly capable. Okay, so this grant actually is for this year. Their only requirement, the reason that it wasn't earlier in the year is that it remains the same. It's another one that remains the same. And they just want you to sometime during the year, put it before the board to make sure that you've seen it. So it's the same one as we've done every year. There were a couple of changes on it because every year you have a different amount of kids that you've put through and that you've checked off the boxes for. But it's essentially the same as we have done for the last 3 or 4 years.
All righty. Any questions or comments from board members? Any comment from Alex? Did
No.
you have anything?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Do we have a motion to approve this grant?
I move that we approve the highly capable program grant for the 2019-20 school year.
Second.
And it is the 1920 school year and not the 2021 school year.
Correct.
Clarify that. Okay. All righty. Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded to approve the highly capable program grant for the 1920 school year. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And we will change over to Brenda now. She's going to talk about the interlocal agreement with the Puget Sound Joint Purchasing Cooperative.
I could let Kelly keep going.
No, that's okay.
You need to share a screen. She knows how.
Everybody's been extremely patient and kind, but I'm done.
Thank you very much, Kelly, for all your
You're welcome.
presentation.
So in your board packet, you have an interlocal agreement with the Puget Sound Joint Purchasing Cooperative. You haven't had to see this one for 5 years. Our last agreement was for a 5-year length of period, and it's just now expiring. What this is we have a big co-op that they go out to bid for our food for child nutrition, all except the dairy products. We still do the dairy ourselves. We currently pay a fee of $450 a year for them to do all this bid work and keep us out of audit trouble. That's based on the number of meals served. And so we are just asking if you will go ahead and approve the new interlocal agreement. There is no expiration date on this one. We've had it as long as I can remember, and it works very well. So currently we purchase from US Foods, who used to be Food Services of America. So I would request your approval.
Any questions from board members, comments?
So this is an open agreement. It doesn't have a, why is that?
Yeah, when we first started doing it, we were coming back every year and renewing. And then they finally went to the 5-year, and we can get out of it if we so choose. But we've had it for 30 years that I'm aware of. So we're just going with an open-ended one.
I have a question regarding the meals that we've been distributing during this COVID event. Is this one that is the same year to year, or will these, our numbers this year will be higher perhaps than they had been before?
Currently, the number of meals are down from what we would serve for a school day.
And if we were, okay.
Yes, so it will be interesting to see how they decide to charge us on this based on that. But right now, because of the way we are serving, the meals are down versus having the kids in school and serving at all schools. So.
And so with or without
a purchasing service.
They allow us, they go out to bid every year, or they roll, like this year, they're rolling the bid because it's still such a good bid price and US Foods has guaranteed it. So we just get all our shipments from them 3 days a week, and it's really good. Catherine goes on the computer and she can see what's in stock and what's not, and she just places her order. So.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve this cooperative agreement?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed interlocal agreement with the Puget Sound Joint Purchasing Cooperative. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All righty, the agreement is approved. Next up, we have, any other comments, anybody? Alex, did you have it? Okay.
No, fine, thank you.
Next up, we have the WIAA direction for the upcoming school year. And
Hey, everybody, it's good to see all of you.
Hi, Trevor.
Been a little quiet here lately, obviously. I think we all know how important sports and athletics are to our kids. Just wanted to give you a little idea of what we've been up to the last couple months here really quick. First of all, we started with a little coaching collage that we put on Facebook that read, "We love our athletes. We will return stronger than ever. Let's go high climbers." Put that on Facebook, on social media. On April 10th, we turned on the stadium lights for the last time to honor our seniors, which was really cool. If you got a chance to get out and see it, it was quite a scene, and we left the lights on all night to recognize them. We did a video that honored our 4-year letter winners. We ended up getting about 85,000 views on the video, which is pretty cool. We're currently doing our senior highlights. I want to thank Heather. She has gone out and collected all the information from the seniors and pictures, and she's been putting them together, and I've been posting them on Facebook. There were 52 senior athletes this year, and hopefully by the next couple of weeks, we have all the seniors recognized. And that's kind of what we're doing for our senior night. And then lastly, I just like to thank Dawn Myers. She did a fundraiser, and she collected money and got banners made. And those are the banners that you see on Neal and Wallace Boulevard, and they turned out really nice. Well, I guess the common theme here is moving forward. And moving forward, I just want everybody to understand what we've been talking about as far as WIAA districts and leagues, as far as what athletics might look like coming up next year. The first option is that the schedule stays the same as it is right now. I really hope it does. I've been spending the last 2 months working on schedules. I've got all our non-conference games for soccer, for football, for basketball, and we're pretty much set for next year if the schedule stays the same. A second option, which has been talked about, is that we moved sports that are low risk, such as cross country, tennis, and golf to the fall. And then other sports like football and soccer would be moved to a later date, where they're talking about having possibly basketball, wrestling, like our winter season, like normal, followed by the sports that we're not being able to play in the fall, football, soccer, and then the spring season would follow that. So everything would be kind of pushed back a little bit. Third option that the WIAA is talking about is we do not start sports at all until December. And then it'd be kind of the same thing. We'd have short seasons. We'd have the winter sports first. Then we'd be followed by fall sports. And then it would be followed by spring sports. And in that scenario, the seasons would be pretty much 7 to 8 weeks long. We would only play conference games, and then we'd only have playoffs. It would go directly from conference games to the state championships. Besides that, what we're waiting for is we're waiting for guidance. As you know, sports is just not in fall, winter, and spring. It is a year-round thing. So we're kind of waiting for guidance from the WIAA, state and local government, and the district and our league about when we can start conditioning for our athletes and what that would look like, and also what it would look like to have our summer practices. Right now, what I have informed the coaches to do is starting June 1st. That would be the normal day where we would be allowed to have contact with our kids. As far as the WIAA is concerned, that is still in place. So if they wanted to do a Zoom meeting with their athletes, we do have a new football coach, as you know, and he's anxious to get started. He would be able to video conference with his athletes and share his playbook and plays and try to get terminology and stuff like that in. And that's my update as far as WIAA. And I'm sure there are probably some questions if anybody has any.
All righty, who'd like to go first? Questions or comments?
So Trevor, traditionally in May or June, we usually have to take action on WIAA membership and a resolution. Do we have any idea when we'll need to do that, or is that all sort of delayed right now?
Yeah, it's delayed right now. I just turned in the numbers last week. So, when that comes out, we'll know. And it's going to be based on how next year looks.
Do we have any idea, is there a timeline yet about next year, when we might know what next year will look like?
They were supposed to be meeting last week, and they were supposed to have a proposal done by today. I have not seen it yet. So I'm assuming probably by next week, Monday, we will have a better idea. And here's the one thing that really matters is they don't want to give anybody an advantage over anybody else. So it's kind of a one for all deal. So if we can't practice and we can't meet, that means another school can't. So for us, if we were able to have team practices over the summer, like our football camps and our basketball camps, and Seattle area could not, that would give us an advantage. So it's kind of an all or none thing. So we have to kind of wait to see what the entire state does before we can do any action.
Well, that negates my question. I was going to ask how you were going to deal with different counties being in different phases at different times, but that's how.
The one thing we do have control over is conditioning, though. So that we can have our kids lift weights and do some running exercises, anything without, balls or drills or stuff like that. So again, we're just waiting on guidance from the the local health agency to see when we're able to meet in groups and how big they would be, and make sure we can do it in a safe and reasonable way.
Are we expecting then from the WIAA or other governing bodies some direction on in terms of practices, contacts, number of kids, that kind of thing? I read an article here this past week where it was talking about like groups of 5 to begin with, and the same 5 would have to practice together in that pod, or that we might not be able to use tackling dummies because we can't clean between students using them, or things like that. Are we expecting some of those kinds of guidelines to come down?
So that's what I was kind of getting at. There's two things there. There's the conditioning aspect where we could possibly meet in groups of 5 and then groups of 10 and then up to groups of 50 outside, keeping 6 feet apart. We're already working on designing something for that. The other thing is the team thing. And again, that would be guidelines that would be from the WIAA. Our conditioning and stuff like that, that's not regulated by the WIAA. That's more our local and state governments and when we're able to open our buildings. But as far as meeting as a team and doing any kind of planning and coaching and teaching, that has to be the WIAA.
Okay, thank you.
And Trevor, and for the school board members, I sat in on one of those statewide school board member calls, and they had said, Tim Garchaw had said that the WIAA is coming up with guidelines for specific sports and field use. Their goal is by the end of June. So that's what they said on our statewide school board call, that was kind of the time frame that they were looking at, specific sport guidelines and field use.
I would assume that, yeah, for actually team contact, yeah, that would probably July 1st. They're looking for a date.
So is it that that organization will determine which sports are played when, or does each district have input into that? How is that decision made?
Yeah, we're meeting as conferences right now, and then the conferences give their recommendation to the district leaders, and the district goes to the WIAA and they talk about it. So again, there's 2 elements here. There's the conditioning aspect, which is more local controlled, and that's based on the phases. And then there's the team aspect, which is WIAA controlled.
But they will decide if we're doing track and field in the fall or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
That could be interesting, shifting sports around to different seasons.
Yes.
Do you suspect that conditioning might, the restrictions for that might follow the restrictions for public gyms and athletic clubs, things like that?
I'm still checking into it right now. I called around to a lot of athletic directors today, and they were, some of them are actually going to start doing conditioning here in the near future, while others are not going to start until July. So it all depends on where you're at and what county you're in.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions or comments? Alex?
Thank you, Sandy. I just want to be clear that Trevor is our representative at these meetings, and what he does is he comes back to me, and then what I do is I go to you as a board to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're agreeing in terms of direction locally in terms of our sports program. Trevor, in terms of girls' sports, has that been dealt with at all right along with some of the major events that are taking place?
What do you mean by girls' sports?
Well, are girls' sports part of the conversation in terms of seasons, when these seasons are going to take place, and how the girls are going to interact with the new guidelines?
Yeah, I mean, they take everything into consideration, and one of the things is what we don't want to do is have where you have a baseball player and a football player and you have them playing at the same time.
Right.
If that were to happen, because then they have kids choosing where they want to play. So we're going to make sure that it's organized well enough where if you're a 3-sport athlete, you can still participate in all 3 sports.
So the issue of equity between boys and girls sports, that's definitely has to be at the top of the agenda.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely make sure that everybody's represented fairly.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All righty. Thank you very much, Trevor, for that update. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
everyone.
Look forward to following more of that. So that would lead us into the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you, Sandy. My report's rather short because we've covered a lot of ground today, this evening. First, I want to congratulate and thank our staff for doing a great job connecting with families and students every day, doing the very best that they can under very difficult conditions. And I believe, based on reports from the principals and actually observing what's going on between our teachers and our families and students, they're doing a terrific job. And I'm sure that that's going to continue. I've indicated to principals and to the teachers through the principals that this period of time is a time to refine and prepare for when schools reopen in terms of remote learning, in terms of services that are going to be required to support families and students and staff. So all of those things are moving forward and they're being discussed in our subcommittee work, but our staff is doing a fantastic job. So I just want them to know we appreciate them very much. I want to reiterate that we're going to have the open forum on June 2nd. That's Tuesday, June 2nd from 6 to 7. And that's going to be a very informative meeting where our subcommittees kind of give an update where they are in terms of their work and where they're heading. I'd like, and I hope I'm not going to surprise Mary Ann here, but we want to celebrate all of our students in our district. You know, we didn't have the Moving On programs and we didn't have the Most Inspiring Student Award program. But Mary Ann has come up with a way to celebrate all of our students. And Mary Ann, could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I brought the building principals together to talk about how we could move forward with honoring our students here in the Shelton School District. We weren't able to do our traditional ceremony, so we decided to honor all students in the Shelton School District just during this time and their hard work and dedication to keep things moving in their education. So we're going to put together about a 5-minute video with some really cute pictures of students during COVID and packet pickup. Also some pictures that we had throughout the year at each of the grade levels, at each of the schools. There'll be some short messages from each of the administrators in those buildings, as well as a message from Dr. Apostle. And our admin team felt strongly about moving forward with this tradition and felt that we needed to recognize all students in the Shelton School District for their hard work and dedication.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you very much. That's all I have to report, Sandy.
Okay, thank you very much. That sounds like a great way to alternatively celebrate those things that we're not able to celebrate traditionally. All righty, we are at the second opportunity for community comments. Do we have any community comments?
I have one thing that is not directed at the board. It was directed at me personally, which I have taken care of. Other than that, there are no emails or posts other than Antonio was saying he's here and Luann Big Bear saying that they are watching the YouTube stream. Other than that, there's nothing else for the school board.
All righty. Thank you very much. And of course, any member of the public can send a email to any board member as well if they have something they wish to share. And we'll move on to board member comments. We'll start with Sally Carr.
Well, I wanted to welcome Lynn. Thank you very much for being willing to fill the role. We appreciate that you're doing that. And I also wanted to echo what was said earlier about the amazing work our staff is doing, especially around the end of the year traditions and special events that sort of mark the changing of the guard and the passing of the year. So I appreciate all the work that's being done around that as well. None of this is normal, and it's nice to be able to have some moments that feel a little bit more normal for our families and for our students. So thank you to all of the staff and the principals and the administration for their work around that. Thank you.
Who'd like to go next? Sally Brownfield's unmuted. So we'll go there.
Yes, again, welcome, Lynn, and it'll be nice when we can get together. I've just seen so many positive things that are happening over the last few weeks. I noticed, and I've got a lot of comments from other people about the banners up on the fence. They're beautiful. As well as all the signs that were taken around to the seniors, people, it really touched a lot of hearts, I believe. They really felt good about the district going out and doing that. And such an effort, and it did take a lot of time and effort. It showed the parents and the kids just how much everyone really does care about them. In the last few days, I've seen conversations going on just on Facebook between people I know, and these are people that have elementary kids, and maybe they were struggling at first, but now they're going, hey, did you get this? No, I got a packet, and these packets work better for my kid. What's working for yours? So lots of reinforcements, lots of support between parents, and really being involved in the whole process and in their children's education, and putting in so much effort and working together. So it's felt though people are distant and not seeing each other, they're finding ways to come together in other, not physically, and support one another, and really supporting their children and saying, let's go forward however we go. And so it's the last few weeks have just really, I've seen a turn, I guess, in people going from, oh my gosh, what are we doing, to, okay, let's get it done. So feels good.
Thank you, Sally. How about Carrie?
Yeah, I am living through this. So what Sally is saying, I mean, as a parent, I'm marking off each week, and this is the 6th week of distance learning for my daughters. And there is a familiarity now to the ringing of the Zoom when the teacher finally lets them in from the waiting room, and my daughters both know what to do. There were some technical issues at first, but I've had other parents text me, and we've all helped each other through some of that. So I know I mentioned it earlier, but it is really amazing when you stop and look back and see just how far it's come in just 6 weeks' time. So it's pretty amazing. And it's been really eye-opening for me to be able to see this side of my daughter's education too, and just what they're working on and being able to be a part of it. And I know that that's not the case for everybody. And I know that this is really hard for parents. So for any parents that have logged in, thank you for whatever you can do to help out with that. And thank you to all of the students who remain engaged and try, whether it's with the packet or the live classes or the recorded classes. I mean, there's a variety of different things. And I do appreciate all the effort that's been put into that, and that kids can log into any of that when their schedule fits. They don't have to do the live meeting. It's always recorded and they can go back and look at it. So I do appreciate all of that. I want to welcome Lynn too. I'm excited that we're a full board again, and just listening to you in the interview, you're very qualified, you're highly qualified. I'm excited to hear your input, and I'm excited that you're a Shelton graduate as well too. That's quite a few of us now on the board. So welcome, and I look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Lynn, not to put you on the spot, if you want to do a board member comment, you certainly can, but I know we hadn't really prepared you for the fact that this would be an opportunity for you. So your call.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me and making me feel very welcome. And I want to echo, what Carrie said. I'm also a parent who's living through this with a senior. And as I mentioned earlier to Jen Diet, I appreciate all the work that's gone in to make our grads feel special. Also, Trevor, thank you for making our athletes feel special. I have a senior athlete too who's missing out on his senior year of golf. But everybody's really stepped up. Bo had a real unique situation this year with his senior class load and some things that were a little bit unique to him. And I just appreciate the help from his counselors to his advisors to staff. Everybody's really made it really easy. I mean, if anything, this isn't an easy time, but it's made it really easy to make accommodations, to help us through some of these really difficult decisions that these kids are having to make for their future. And, I know there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that we don't all see. And it's easy, for parents to sometimes be critical or see things in hindsight and think things could have been done better. But I just want to commend Alex and the entire district and the board for all of the things that you guys have put into place to make this a really well orchestrated time. So thank you.
Thank you. And I just would like to comment on when I first came on the board, only one board member had a student in the classroom in the district. I don't know that any of the board members were Shelton High School graduates. So this is quite a change from my first time on the board. And also the average age of the board has dropped quite a bit since I got on the board. So I'm really excited about working with you, Lynn, and welcome you again. And I think that'll be the end of my board comments. We do have an executive session scheduled. We will need to, I was going to say we need to sign documents, but no, we won't. So we can, we'll go into our executive session, but I think we'll end this meeting. Am I correct, Bob? Asking the technical guy how this works.
Yes. This meeting will end. I will start the executive session meeting and you will join that one.
So then there's no action coming out back. There's no coming back into this meeting. If we take action, it'll have to be at a future meeting.
I can hang around and restart this meeting if necessary. I just need to know when I need to restart it.
I think we can probably go ahead and take whatever action we need to take on the June 9th meeting. Would that be acceptable? All right. Okay.
That's up to the members of the board.
I'm getting a lot of nods, so I think that's the way we'll go with this. So I want to thank everybody for their participation in the meeting tonight, and just thank you all. We'll need a motion to. Yes, sir.
Yes, if you don't mind. I also want to welcome Lynn to the board, and I look forward to working with her and the rest of the board.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All righty. Thank you very much. We'll see you in executive session shortly.